Joining me now in an exclusive interview is Congressman Trey Gowdy, who sits on the House committee where that will happen tomorrow, those discussions behind closed doors with Jared Kushner. So good to see you, Congressman,
yes,
as always. Thanks for coming back on the show. So
yes,
were you surprised that he made public comments today?
I wasn't. He's not a public person. I think this would be among his first public comments, but you can only be accused of something for so long. Human nature is such that you want to defend yourself.
So in terms of the statement that he put out, you'll be questioning him about the contents of that and likely other things tomorrow. What stood out to you? What do you want to achieve tomorrow in that back and forth?
Well, first of all, Martha, this is exactly the way serious investigations are supposed to be conducted. You examine a witness, you cross-examine the witness, you look for corroboration or contradiction. You don't use anonymous sources and selective leaks and prejudge the outcome. So what's happening tomorrow, us interviewing a witness, is exactly what we should be doing. His statement is helpful. It provides a roadmap. I have additional questions, both based on what he said and things that were not said in his 11-page statement. But for those who are not used to seeing the way investigations are supposed to be run, this is how they're supposed to be done.
So in terms of what's in that 11-page statement, which has been out there all, throughout the course of the day today, and everybody's had a chance to read it, he talks about the meeting with Don Jr., and he really says, I didn't read the email chain with regard to that meeting, and all it said on my calendar was, that I had a meeting at that time with Don Jr. So he basically says he walked into the room and kind of got sucked into a meeting that he didn't really want to be at, and that he texted his assistant and said, looking for sort of a polite way to get out of it because he felt that it was a waste of time, in his words. Do you find that credible?
I do, and that's exactly why it is important to conduct investigations. There is corroboration for what he said. What he said was, I didn't know what the meeting was about, and as soon as I got into it, I realized I'm in the wrong place. So he sent 2 separate emails saying, can you please call me so I can have an excuse to get out of this meeting? So that's what I mean by corroboration. The fact that he didn't remember the name of the Russian ambassador until November the 9th, that is corroboration. That's what you're looking for in investigations, a statement, and it's either corroborated or contradicted. In this case, it's corroborated.
Yeah, and the moment that you just talked about is he called the Russian embassy and said, what's the name of the Russian ambassador, because he was trying to put together his notes and all these forms. He also pointed out that he had a couple of, he describes them as sort of chance meetings along the way. But he said, I was invited to have lunch at these ambassadors. And he's not just talking about his interactions with Russians. He's talking about all the foreign people who reached out to him when his father-in-law was elected. Does that whole argument hold water? He says, I didn't put in any of those in the forms that got pulled too early. And so I went back and corrected them all.
Well, we're going to ask him about that tomorrow. He said it was inadvertently sent, and he corrected it the next day. If you look at we have his call list. If you look at calls he was going to make, it was to representatives of lots of different countries. So that's why you need the documents. That's why you have to have the back and forth with the witness. That's why you don't let California congressmen prejudge the outcome of investigations. That's why we're talking to him tomorrow. So if there is a benign explanation, or if the Democrats want to assert a less than benign explanation, tomorrow is the day to do it.
But what do you say to those who say, why does this have to happen behind closed doors? Why not let him have his moment in front of everybody and, speak his piece?
Because members of Congress cannot behave themselves in public settings. And every serious investigation, you can't think of one that's not done behind closed doors. You don't have a clue who Bob Mueller's talking to. I don't know who he's talking to. You're not supposed to know. You don't know who the sheriff in your home county is talking to about the latest armed robbery. Serious investigations are done without time limits and frequently without the political posturing that you see in this town. I mean, stop and think, Martha. We have anonymous sources, we have selective leaks, and then we have members of Congress prejudging the outcome of the investigation. That's why this is not serious. So praise the Lord that we're actually doing one thing tomorrow that very vaguely resembles a serious investigation. No time limits behind closed doors.
Congressman Trey Gowdy, thank you very much. Good to see you, sir.
You too.
So as you heard earlier, senior advisor and son-in-law to President Trump, Jared